Hey, and welcome to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast, a podcast for people who want to get no BS information about fitness and know that fitness is about so much more than losing scale weight. It's about feeling confident in your skin and empowered in your life. I'm your host, Turo Virta, personal trainer, strength and nutrition coach, and most of all, a husband of my beautiful wife, Miriam. Each week, my guests and me will give you some no BS fitness tips and motivate you to take action in your own personal fitness journey as we talk about nutrition, exercise, mindset, personal development, and executing in life with enjoyable but still effective strategies. If your goal is to look better, feel and be strong and experience transformation from inside out, you, my friend, are in the right place. Thank you for jumping in. And now let's jump into today's episode. So welcome to this live training, and today I'm talking about how to get started, how to create a training program for that you can age healthier at the, let's say, 80s or 90s, and even that might sound that it's still very far from now. It's a great way to learn to think in the long term. And that this is the part, like what most people, like especially younger ones, are struggling. But then once you are getting to your mid 30s, 40s, 50s and above, you start to think and pay attention more of those things. And at the first, always what I start with all my coaching programs, everything is probably the least favorite part, but it's also the most important. And most people are never doing this. And that is why they are always struggling with their motivation, and why it's that you should be actually starting that, why you are actually doing this. And this is something what is like, it's really, really hard for most people to do, like, and think that, why I'm doing this. And that is that, to think, go back and think that ultimate motivation, why you are actually doing this. And then when you know your why you are actually doing this, this is the biggest thing, what is actually making you to take action on those days when you don't feel like it. For me, for example, was the biggest motivator to take action now is my father, and how I saw him struggle past years of his life. And unfortunately, he passed away in January, a couple of months ago from now when I'm recording this. I'm good for that, and thank you for all condolences. But it was not that actually when it happened, because it was already seen long before, like he was struggling with his past decade of his life about all kind of health issues. And that was for me something that I was thinking, like, that this, I don't want to end up doing and seeing this. And this is the great example. Like, if you have somebody, even if you are younger now, if you have someone who is close to you and you are seeing how they are aging, what things they are able to do and what they are not. And if you don't think that, I don't know how I should feel, think that when time is passing, you are at that age, what kind of activities, what kind of things you would be able to do and what you would like to do, and what you see that what they are not able to do anymore. And this is that hardest part to think. And I wasn't aware, like I was really thinking, I'm always trying to think that what kind of why I'm doing whatever I'm doing and why this is in life. And I wasn't aware, to be honest, with all of these things until I made this test called 7 levels of deep. And this test is in all my coaching programs. It's a bonus section. It's where you should get started. It's called that, what is your why, and finding your belief. And if you don't have access to my coaching program or anything, you can you just Google and search 7 levels of deep. But in my coaching programs, there is all instructions how to actually do it. And I'm explaining it, how to do it. You need, I would say, at least 30 minutes time for yourself in a quiet place, and you have no distractions. And it's a magical tool. What I can't tell enough how much impact it gave to me, as I'm, when I did it, I originally was thinking that I just, what I do, like, for example, as a fitness coach, why I'm working out. I was thinking that I just want to help people. But when I go deeper, that ultimate motivation came out. You asked that same question 7 times, basically, that repeating that why this is important for you. And when I went into the 7th phase, I understood that there were so many things coming from my childhood, what kind of trauma I was not even aware. And that came that I was probably missing love from my dad. And then it turned out that is the biggest motivator for me to keep taking action. Because if I, to be honest, even as a fitness coach, I'm not very motivated to work out, especially strength training. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. Not often, if I would say so. That let's say that if I think my past 10 workouts, or especially in winter, strength training sessions, what I did, I do 2 to 3 strength training sessions per week at the moment myself. But if I think that past 10 workouts, maybe one time I was like that, I'm excited to work out. But all the other ones, maybe 6 were like that, I don't mind doing it. And 3 to 4 were like that, no way ever, I'm going to work out today. And trying to find all kind of excuses for myself, but I still did it. And this is, if I was not feeling like doing it, I was just reminding me that why I'm actually doing this. And this is giving motivation to do even in your busiest days and when you don't feel like doing it. And then it's all about then also being kind for yourself. I made promise that I keep promises what I make for myself. And I made a promise that at least I will get started. So I will keep that promise. And if there is a days that I didn't sleep, I had an injury, or I had something else going on that I didn't feel like working out, I didn't sleep, whatever reason, I at least started. And I might work out some days, it was 5 minutes, some days 10 minutes, but then I at least get started. And that is the promise what I keep first when I do myself. And this is what I want you to start keeping it. If you can't keep your promises, then it's time to put your expectations a little bit lower and putting it like that. Instead of aiming to do 5 times in a week, 1 hour workout, go for 2 times 5 minutes, or whatever your number is that you feel confident, at least, let's say from 1 to 10, at least level 8, that you can say that this I can do. It don't have to be super easy, but it should be so easy that you can with confidence say that this I can do at least. But this is where you should get started. And now let's talk about those goals, what you have, and creating that kind of exercise plan when you are 80 years old. And I saw we are doing this. I do this live call, and Marina is here. So I loved Marina's feedback in my Facebook group when she was like that I can't think what I'm doing in when I'm 80. But she used a great example as her mother, what she is not able to do, what she would like to do when she's aging. So this is a great example. If you can't imagine that, what I would like to do when I'm 80, because that is still so far away. Maybe it's for someone, it's 60 years away. Someone else is missing another 40. Other ones are 10 years away. For me, I'm 41, so it's 40 years away. But I can't. It's really hard to think like that. What I should do, what I want to do. But if I give you, by the way, these all ideas what I have, I'm currently reading. It's a book called Outlive from Dr. Peter Attia, and these all kind of practical tips, not what you exactly have to do, but all these things they are coming from that book. So I really recommend to read it. It's a very interesting if your goal is to improve your health and live healthier life when you are getting older. So Outlive from Peter Attia, that's the book what I have been reading, and what most of these ideas what I'm talking today are coming from. So then when you think that what could be your health goals, like obviously now you might think that I just need to lose weight to feel better, having more energy, looking better, but ultimately, that is not what is actual problem. Is that when you are aging like that, you might fat is relatively easy, or maybe for some people say that it's not easy, it's hard. But that is that most of the people are gaining fat, losing fat, maybe even several times during their lifespan. But health is something that once you lose it, it's really hard to get back. And when you are now at the age of let's say 40, 60, whatever age you are at, when you are prepared, you know actually what kind of things you should be doing now, that it's not then you have at least better chances. Obviously, there are so many things we can't impact, but most of those things we can impact now, and what we should be able to do. Because if you think that goals like hike 2 miles, like it's a 3 kilometers on a hilly trail, that's one of the goals what most people like, that they are thinking like that this is something what I would like to do also when I'm 80 or older. And what I would say that if you are now in your 40s like me, what you would need to have, be able to have some VO2 max level at this point, or being able to do, let's say, 20-kilometer hike on a hilly trail at the moment. Then that same thing, because everything is going to, your muscle mass is going to decrease, your VO2 max value, what we will talk about a little bit later, is going to decrease. So you are prepared that what you should be able to do now that are giving you chance to do that also later. So, but let's start with those goals. Like I wrote in my Facebook group, there are several goals, and I repeat them now here. And possible goals could be like, for example, hiking 2 miles on like 3 kilometers on hilly trail, and getting up from the floor on your own power, using maximum of one arm to support. Third goal could be to pick up a young child from the floor. So if you think that you are at the age of 80, maybe you have grandchildren or grandchildren. So to pick up how you think that how happy those children would be if you are able to pick up from them. Then another thing is carry 2 5-pound or 3-kilo packs, like for 5 blocks, 1 kilometer. If you go for shopping, you want to do it by yourself. Or then lift 20 pounds or 10 pound or 10 kilo suitcase to sell in a plane. So if you want to travel still later, that you are able to travel and lift your suitcase in a plane to sell. Then maybe balancing on one leg, 30 seconds, eyes open. And this is like, for example, being able to put your socks on, shoes on by yourself. And if you want to have a bonus point, you try to do it for 15 seconds. For some people is to have sex, being able to have sex still at that age, climbing 4 floors of stairs in 60 seconds, 2 minutes. It don't have to be 60 seconds, but just to give an idea what could be a goal. Open new jar, so that if you have some marmalade or whatever at home, that you are able to open it by yourself. Doing 30 consecutive jump ropes. Swimming, maybe these are now like more specific goals. What could be then, like if you enjoy swimming half mile, like 800 meters in 20 minutes, walking with the 30 pound or 15 kilo dumbbell in each hand for a minute. These are already kind of things what will help you then later on, for example, carrying your shopping or bags when you are going for shopping, or being able to put my socks just by standing one leg. This is that balancing thing what we talked earlier, doing 5 pull-ups or push-ups, and climbing 90 steps in 2 minutes. And this, by the way, requires VO2 max of 32 if you are able to do it. And we will talk a little bit, like I said, about VO2 max later. And did hang for 1 minute, so hanging just on some bar for 1 minute. And then hiking with the 10 kilo pack or 20 pound backpack for an hour, always carrying your own luggage, walking up on a steep hill, or move a heavy table or other object by myself. And these are now some practical goals, like for example, for strength training and for endurance training, cardio training, what you could be doing. And then when you have these goals, like let's say what Marina is here in a call, I loved her goals, what she said that what her mom is not able to do. So those goals would be to carry groceries, 5 kilo groceries alone for 10 minutes, which is around 1 kilometer, or go for a walk without help on easy surroundings for 30 minutes, and climb up for 4th-floor stairs slowly with taking some break, and swimming in a lake or pool for 15 minutes. And now when you have those goals, like now let's talk about what kind of training program you would need to have. So for example, but I before telling exactly those exercises, I want to go for those what are the most important, like what kind of goals there is, like that first of all, to improve your endurance. And this is that the VO2 max. If you don't know what it is, there is basically, that is pretty good indicator about your overall heart health, metabolic health, what you have at the moment. And there is, if you search, for example, VO2 max table from Google or something, you will find on average levels, like I posted just in my Instagram story about on average, what is on your age group, what is poor, what is average, what is excellent, what is good level. And there you can compare where you are at the moment. And but remember, in these kind of tables, even meaning that you are on average level on your VO2 max at this point, like let's say for me as a 40-year-old, if I would be on average level now on my age group, it doesn't mean that I'm able to do everything of those things what I would like to do at age of 80, but it's going to decline. And good examples are that how you are going to, what is like that you might have to be, like, for example, for me, if I want to have, let's say that my goal would be to have walked that 90 steps in 2 minutes, what requires 32 of VO2 max. It's milligram per minute. So it's always, it depends on how much you weight and for your BMR. So, but I will tell a little bit later more about how you can actually measure it. But just first of all, to how that number is working. So, for example, to have that 30, what is pretty good, you can do almost everything. Like you are not maybe some super athlete, but you can do most of the things with around VO2 max around 30. And that is going to decline. VO2 number is going to decline around 5 per every decade. So let's say that I was curious. There is like how you can, first of all, to measure it. Most of, if you have some kind of like a sport tracker, sport watch, they have inside of, you have some VO2 max test. It's not very, very accurate, but it's just that basically, like, for example, in my sport tracker, what I have, I use Polar, and there is like that it's just laying down, and it's around minute you lay down, and it's measuring your VO2 max. It's not the most accurate way, most accurate way, but it's also very uncomfortable, is that you are doing it, let's say once in a year or every 2 years, VO2 max test, what is possible to do with the bicycle, with the running, that you have actually some kind of mask on your face. And then you can measure what is your actually what is your VO2 max value. But with these sport trackers, watches, you find there is a kind of a little bit more comfortable way to have at least a pretty good estimate what it could be. And so I measured today I haven't done it for a while. I was measuring my VO2 max at the moment was 62. And when I looked at the table, it's an excellent level for someone who is in age group, for males who is age group 20 to 24. And I was kind of feeling proud of myself being at 41 at that level. And so my metabolic health is pretty good. I gotta say that I work pretty hard on that. And that is important for me. But let's use this example. Like, I'm now 41. It's now 62. It's going to decline 5 per every decade. So in 40 years, or in 60 years from now, it would be around 30. So that's giving me good chances for myself that at age of 100, I would have still, if I keep doing what I do at the moment, obviously it's going to decline older I'm getting, but I have a good chances of my metabolic health. But if you are now in your, let's say you are 40, your VO2 max level is around 30, and you think that in 20 years it's going to be 20, or in 40 years it's going to be 15 or 10, that's a very poor level and very bad place to be. And if you think that this is something what you probably want to start to take care of now, because everything what you are doing later, everything is getting a lot harder, and that VO2 is relatively easy to improve. And this is about that VO2 maximum, and how to then what is the best way to increase it. So those best ways to decrease it, it's called zone 2 cardio. And this is something what most people, when they are trying to improve their endurance, heart health, what they are doing, like when I talk with the people, they go for a run or doing some bicycle, and they think that if you don't feel that it's hard, it's not going to be enough. But zone 2 is actually something what is relatively easy to do. It's just that you should be doing pretty lot of it to improve your VO2 max. Like if you think like that, how endurance athletes, how they are training. So they are not going to just to feel tired. They are doing relatively easy. Obviously for them, as they have already higher endurance, higher VO2, it's going to be, for most people, it's going to be like sprinting. If you see like marathon runners or something, they are running easily with some speed that for most people is maximum speed. But for them, it's zone 2. And what is the zone 2? If you have some sport tracker, you have there like a 5 zones, like zone 1, what is relatively easy, like it's kind of just walking, moving around. Zone 2 is that the most important zone, and what you should be spending majority of your endurance training, your time in that zone. And that zone, it means like that if you go, let's say you go for a walk. For most people, it's only walking. So how to know if you don't know your maximum heart rate, as it's for every individual, it's different. But good indicator is how you are able to speak. So zone 2 means that you are able to talk all the time. If you are not able to talk, like let's say to make 10 to 15 word sentences, you are not in zone 2. Then you are in zone 3 or 4. And if you are not able to talk, that is going to be too fast. And this is the mistake what most people, when they are training, they are doing, like they are going too hard. And that is that when you run, for example, too fast, you're not able to do it longer. But let's say that you are walking faster, and you are still able to have conversation. But also it's then what is the difference between zone 1 and zone 2 is that zone 1 is that you want to talk kind of all the time. And zone 2 is that you are able to talk, but you don't want to be talking all the time. So this is the difference between like kind of what you can do without any sport tracker. So zone 2 is that you are able to make 10 to 15 word sentence, but you don't want to be talking all the time. So it's not too easy, but it's not also too hard. And this is where majority of your mind, it should be relatively easy. It might be even a little bit boring, and you don't have that kind of feeling what you have if you go for, let's say you go for a run, you run in zone 3 or zone 4. After an hour, you are like, wow, that was a great workout. Zone 2 is like that, okay, I did an hour. It feels relatively easy. I could go for another. And this is where what is actually helping you to increase that VO2 max. And the other thing, what is the most important thing is this, that it's one time in a week. If your goal is to improve VO2 max, is that you do some kind of interval training, what I call in zone 4 training. So it's kind of a really hard workout. Like for example, for my clients and in my workout app, there is some interval trainings, like cardio sprints, interval trainings. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can do it by swimming. You can do it by riding a bicycle. You can do it by running. It's up to you. But the goal is that you go really on close to your maximum heartbeat on zone 4, repeating with a longer rest period. Like for example, with the running, you could be repeating 30-second sprint, then 1 minute off, and repeating that for, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes. And after that, that is going to be more than enough for your heart health. You can increase that time for a minute. Or another way how to go for interval training, kind of, it's a little bit different, but it's like, let's say that you would go 3 to 4 minutes on as hard, not that as hard as with those interval sprints, because those you would have to go almost as fast as you are able to go. But if you go, let's say 3 to 4 minutes, relatively hard, and then repeating 3 to 4 minute easy, or just kind of walking, and then repeating that 3 to 4 times. So total around 15 minutes. Either way, both ways are great ways to increase that, like kind of the maximum effort. But and those are like, if your goal is to improve your VO2 max, that is the best way. And 1 time in a week, it's more than enough for normal people, unless you are some endurance athlete. And then how you are able to improve is just simply increasing the time of zone 2. So, because that is that if you go, for example, for run, and you go with that zone 3, you are not able to do it for several times a week or too long, because it's going to be too hard for your body. But zone 2, that is that you are able to do a lot longer and more often. So this is how you are. What is that? If those are like, this was like, for example, from Marina's goals, this was about those swimming for 50 minutes. So this is something what is helping you to increase that VO2 max. So then about strength training. So first, strength training, what are the four most important movements and how to train them? And first one is your grip strength. And what it means, that grip strength, it's how like you are holding things in your hands. So it's there are actually many studies, and that it's one of the best indicator how long you are going to live. And it's kind of a weird thing, but it's a very good indicator, and that have been decreasing in past years so much for many people, especially those who are not fighting against losing muscle mass when they are getting older. And how to train it? It's all kind of carries like or doing some heavy strength training, like for example deadlifts, where you have to hold weights in your hands. So you could be carrying. It's a good way is that for example carrying those groceries. So you are able to do it, but if you want to train it, you can just pick some heavy weights in your hands and walk around, and pick so heavy weights that you are able to do 30 seconds, 90 seconds. And good test that how to know when you are at a good level of grip strength is that if you are, for men, if you are able to carry your own body weight in your hands, like let's say I'm around 90 kilos, I would have 45 kilos each hand, and I would be able to walk around with that weight 2 minutes. It means that I have a good grip strength. So your own body weight for males, 2 minutes, and for women, with their own body weight, 90 seconds, or a little bit less than your body weight, but for 90 seconds. So a little bit less. And those are then, if you are able to do it, you have pretty good grip strength. If not, that is something what you want to probably improve. And then other test, what you can do for your grip strength is that at the age of 40, that men should be able to hang also in dead hang for 2 minutes, and women 90 seconds. So if you find some pull-up bar somewhere, try to hang there, and for men at the age of 40, you should be able to do it for 2 minutes, and women 90 seconds. And it might sound that, wow, this is it's with most of the people, they are not able to do it. And those are the best exercises. But if you are you don't need to do some grip strength extra exercise. If you are strength training, you are using dumbbells or barbell heavy weights,
you are holding those weights in your hands, that is, you are already working on that grip strength. So and if you include in your workout program some kind of carries, like farmer walks, where you are carrying like either kettlebells or dumbbells in your hands, and you are walking around with that weight, that is going to increase that grip strength. So that is what you want to include in your workout programs. Then next exercise is all kind of concentric and eccentric movements. So concentric means that everything, let's say that shoulder press, or bench press, when you are pushing that weight up, what is kind of feeling that you know, in shoulder press, you start with weight on your shoulders and you push it up, that your hands are extended over your head. That is that concentric phase. And eccentric phase is that when you are coming back, because most people, they are using only that concentric phase. So they are focusing only on getting that weight up, but then dropping it down. And that eccentric is to actually, it could be even more important if you think it like, for example, walking. If you walk on uphill, it's that concentric phase when you go up hills, and eccentric phase is when you are coming downhill. And this is something what you should be put focus also on those eccentric phase, as that is usually harder. But this says that you are able to put that weight also back without hurting yourself. So this is number 2, and number 3 is all kind of push and pull movements. Like pushes are like push-ups, bench presses, and pull movements are all kind of rows, what you are doing. Like, for example, rowing machine, you could use it for cardio, but it's also rowing movement, all kind of one arm rows, which are row movements, as those are you're using the biggest muscles and in your body, and those are the most important ones. And then number 4 are all kind of hip hinge movements, and these are like it means that I'm not going to go through everything, but just to have an idea, it means that you are hinging your hips behind without bending your back. So exercises which are great for hip hinge movements are, for example, deadlifts, step ups. You step up on the like some elevated ground, like a stairs, and RDL, Romanian deadlifts, or variations, one leg deadlifts, squats. I count also as hip hinge movements, and hip thrusts. So if you don't know all these kind of words, what kind of exercises they are, you can just Google hip hinge movements, hip thrusts, squats, RDL, step ups, deadlifts, and those are the key point what should be in your workout plan. So now, if you want to know how to actually train those, what you should be having, like, for example, now I take this Marina's example, carrying 3 to 5 kilo groceries alone for 10-minute walk, 1 kilometer. So that to be able to do that later on, you want to have that goal, for example, to be able to walk close to your body weight in your hands around, let's say, for 1 minute. That's a great start. Or let's say that you weight at the moment, your weight is 60 kilos, and you want to go for 25 kilo in each hand for a minute, or at least somewhere there. Like that is a great, what kind of exercise I would include. I would include also some kind of course that you need grip strength, like what we talked, dead hanging, trying to dead hang for every once in a while, or goal would be the 90 seconds to be able to dead hang. And it's going so, if you have never done it, by the way, it's going to be so hard. But if you do it on regular basis, like if you have some place where to hang yourself and hold some bar, you do it, let's say once, like 3 to 4 times per week, you hold as long as you can. It's going to go so fast up the time what you are able to dead hang. So this is, or if you are doing already, if you have some kind of pull-up movements, you are doing some lat pull-downs, those are already that kind of exercises, and also including some heavier lifts where you are holding heavy dumbbells in your hands or barbell in your hand. And then her goal was to go for a walk without help in easy surroundings for 30 minutes. So this is all about then VO2 max. And that to be able to do that, it's that zone 2 exercises. So adding that as much relatively easy kind of cardio. What is also, if you are at the same time, if you are doing strength training, it's not very taxing for your body. So this is a principle or how you should train for that. And then climb up for 4 floor stairs slowly with pause. So what is helping to climb? Like it's all these kind of like hip hinge movements where you use your glutes. So exercises for that is all kind of, for example, lunges, lunge walks, step up on elevated ground, all deadlifts. So these are all muscles what you are strengthening when you are, or even some squats, one leg squats, if you don't have any weight how to use. So these are muscles what you are going to need. And then it's a second thing that if you don't want to, her goal was to walk slowly with pause, but if you don't want to take pause, then you want to increase your VO2 max already now. So, and then that swim in a lake and pool for 15 minutes. And that is also mostly it's muscle endurance, but also for more endurance based. For example, for these goals, I would say that if I start to create workout program with this kind of goals in long term, I would start that I would say that it's going to be around 50-50 ratio between endurance and resistance training. As for most people, it's that what is missing part is that strength training, and then that endurance part is kind of what is also. But for example, Marina's goal, there is goals were more endurance based than strength training goals, but that more strength you are able to do all these things, and then the VO2 max, that is something what is then going with that zone 2 cardio, you are going to increase it. So around, I would say that for these goals, it ratio for time you have available. Let's say you are ready to invest 3 hours for your workout sessions per week. I would say that 1.5 hours would be strength training, where you are making sure that you have all kind of these grip strength, like a heavy, using heavier weights, and basically just full body strength training. And but you would need to use some weights, or at least if you don't use weights, at least did hang somewhere to increase your grip strength. And then all rest would be, if I would have 1.5 hours time for my endurance training, I would say that one time 15-minute zone 4, like I spoke earlier about interval training, or you can do it with the 30 to 60 second sprints with the double rest time, or you could be doing, for example, 4-minute fast, 4-minute easy, repeated 2 times. So 8 minutes altogether hard and 8 minutes rest in between. So this would be my suggestion for a workout plan for this type of goals. So this is, it just gives you example. And if you need any help to create that your workout plan, just you can DM me in my Instagram or in my Facebook, and I will try to help you to what kind of movements. And in my coaching programs, there are already, like, for example, for strength training, there's all programs are available. So if you go to my membership portal, there is descriptions for all workout programs, what I have created there. There is goals for endurance, for interval trainings. Then there is a strength training workouts based on where you are at the moment, what kind of equipment you have, and how much time you have available if you are working out at the gym or at the home. So there is everything from that strength training part. You don't need to start creating your program yourself, as that is a pretty hard thing to do. And that's why all those, for example, for my members, there is all those programs. So
this was training for today. So thank you for listening.
Hold up, friend. Do you love FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast? If so, the best way to say thank you is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes. I know every podcaster wants you to leave a review, but it's because those reviews help the podcast to reach more people. I truly want to know what you think, and if this particular episode resonated with you, would you also please share it? Either send a link to someone who you think will find it valuable, or take a screenshot and post it into your social media and tell your friends and family why they should listen it. Make sure you tag me so I can hear your feedback and give you a little love. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram or TikTok, that's the perfect time to hit that follow button. Thank you for being here and listening to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast.